Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Monday. It's time for a 5x5. Now, this is where I take 5 subjects related to magic. I spend 5 minutes talking about each subject. It's always quick, it's always snappy. You never know what you're going to get. Now, we're changing the format again this week. We're doing a Performer Spotlight Special. Now, in the Performer Spotlight Specials, it's where I take a particular performer that I think we can all learn something from. And I basically show 5 clips of them performing, and I talk about what we can learn from those 5 clips. I love doing these Performer Spotlight Specials. I really do, especially when I do them on somebody that people might not have heard of before, or that might not be aware of their material. And today I'm going to be doing it on somebody who up until recently I didn't know that much about, and that's Trigg Watson. Now, if you don't know who Trigg Watson is, he's a big name in magic at the moment and has been for a while, but he's just recently competed on America's Got Talent. He did the auditions, he got through to the live rounds. Unfortunately, he didn't get through to the final, but I thought that he did an incredible job. I'm not going to be showing any of his AGT performances, but you can go and check that out on YouTube. But if anybody had seen his audition, it was incredible with everything popping out the script. Go check it out, it was amazing. And his semi-final, I challenge anyone to find a production to open your act as beautiful as the production he used to open his AGT live rounds performance. It was great. And that moment at the end, where I still don't know how he did it, where the video turned into a picture, it was just incredible. Really, really good. And the reason I wanted to look at Trig is because these days, more than ever, tech magic is really popular. I get people contacting me all of the time saying, hey, can you do tech magic? Can you supply a tech magician? Can you incorporate tech magic into your show? And a lot of the time, a lot of tech magic, it's kind of, right, okay, I've got an iPad, now I'm going to pull this out of it. Now I've got an iPad, I'm going to pull this out of it. And I learned from watching his America's Got Talent performances that Trig is really cutting edge when it comes to a lot of tech magic. It really is. And I think that when you're, I know that there's magicians out there that go, well, it's not really magic. If it's technology, it's not really magic. And that's one way to look at it. I disagree. I think that as magicians, we move with the times. Why was borrowing a handkerchief a thing that all magic books talked about 100 years ago, 50 years ago? It's because everybody carried a pocket handkerchief around with them. Nobody does these days, and yet every magician still does tricks with hankies, right? I think we need to evolve. We need to grow. I see people doing cigarette magic these days, but at least over here in the UK, most people tend to use vapes. No one's doing vape magic that I'm aware of. And Trig is doing that. He understands that his character is that of a magician that does a lot of tech magic, and he's evolving it in lots of different ways beyond just the concept of pulling something out of an iPad or pulling something out of an iPhone. That's not to say he doesn't do normal magic, that he does. And I've had a really good time this last couple of weeks researching into Trig, looking at hundreds of videos of him performing, so I can present to you 5 videos that I think kind of showcase him and what we can learn from him. And I'm going to give you an example straight away by playing you a video of a performance of Trig's called Augmented Reality Cups and Balls, or Augmented Cups and Balls, Augmented Reality Cups and Balls. I love this routine. Let's have a look at a performance of it, and I'll talk about why it's so good.
We live in an age in which the digital world and the physical world are blending together. And a perfect example of this are these new augmented reality apps, which allow you to place digital objects in your physical environment through your phone's camera. I'll show you how they work. This is the food category here. You see there's avocado, a hamburger and fries, or sports. We got football, basketball. Let's use the soccer ball for this. I'll show you how it works. You want to start off by going into augmented reality mode. The first step is to scan the surface that you want to place the object on. And then you just tap, and the ball appears. You can move it around the table. Now, obviously, it's not there in real life. It's just there in augmented reality. But it looks really realistic. Almost like you just reach out and touch it, or even grab it. Let's see how real we can make the world of augmented reality feel. We'll use a couple extra items. And And we'll use this tablet here on which I've placed the augmented reality app so that you can experience what's happening in real life and in augmented reality simultaneously. Let's see if I can get this ball to travel from this cup, cup A. We'll let it get detected and travel all the way over to this cup, cup B, using augmented reality. I want everyone to watch this through the tablet's screen. See, it floats up and floats over and look, it worked in real life as well. Let's take this up a notch. This time we'll just use a single cup and we'll switch over to the next module. And instead of making it teleport this time, we'll mess with the size. Watch the tablet screen. And now you should see in the tablet, there's now a green button here that allows me to mess with the size. If I press it, the ball gets a little bigger, and it falls into the cup. What I love about this technology is that it allows us to control our physical environment in ways that we really never have before. For example, if I hold the ball really far away, it probably looks pretty small in the tablet screen. If I hold it close, it gets really big. But if I hold it just right, your perception of what's real and what's digital can start to blur.
So like I said, a lot of magicians, when they think about tech magic, there's one of two approaches that they take. The first is, something like Wikitest or Inject, and, they're going to read your mind off your phone. Or the other thing is, I'm going to pull something out the screen. You got a card, have you? Oh, great, look, there's a card in my phone. Boom, is that your card? Nothing wrong with that. I'm not taking the mick out of it, but there's a lot more that you can do. And I think that what Trigg has done in a lot of the videos that I've seen is he's taking things to the next level. He's not afraid to experiment. We saw that on AGT, we really did. But we see it again over and over again in his performances, and especially here. Cups and Balls is a classic. It's an absolute classic. And what he has here is a very tight 3-phase routine, which is in essence a Cups and Balls. But I love the fact that he's got the screen and you're seeing it live and you're seeing it on the screen at the same time. There's something so magical about that. And I love the fact that he's incorporating sleight of hand with the cups into what's happening on the screen. When I first saw it, and there was that moment that the ball went over there into the other cup, and then he tipped it out and showed the other cup was empty. I just love that. I was like, that's such a clever idea, because you're showing technology, but you're showing how the technology has an impact on this physical prop, and they're kind of almost seeing two things at the same time. And then when he made the ball grow, that was incredible. I love the fact that he zoomed in and dropped it in and then tipped it out. The timing on it was just brilliant. It really was. And that bit at the end where the ball went massive. Now, a lot of people were doing that during their Zoom shows. During the pandemic, a lot of people were taking coins or whatever. I was doing it with an AirPod. You take an AirPod out, you come really close to the screen and you come away and the AirPod's grown. Never would have thought in a million years that's something that you could do live and in person to a real audience. But apparently you can, and you saw the reaction. It's a great reaction. And like I say, this is a perfect, for those people that say, oh, I don't do tech magic, because, don't use technology or whatever. This is a perfect example of taking tech and taking something that everyone's aware of, which is augmented reality. We all know what that is from Pokemon Go and things like that. And how you can actually take that and incorporate it into a performance and really just elevate that performance. So that's the first example. The next thing that I'm going to show you, I'm just looking at my list over here. The next thing I'm going to show you is, I don't know what to call it. It's a routine called grocery shopping. It's another one that he's performed on TV. I saw this and I loved it. Let's have a look at this routine now.
Whenever I perform magic, people often ask me whether I ever use my skills as a magician off stage. to solve everyday life problems. Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you cannot be a magician without wanting to find ways to make your life a little easier using magic. For example, I don't even go grocery shopping anymore. I just shop for everything instantly online. Here, I'll show you what I mean. Check this out. Non-perishables, like that peanut butter. Perfect. And the soup, nice. And the tomato paste. The carrots, they pop right out of the screen, always part of a nutritious meal. Or some fruit. Check out that fresh fruit, folks, as it just pops right out of the screen. Or a melon. Don't forget to check out let's try some orange juice, champagne, mimosas, grocery shopping complete. Yes. You're probably wondering, Trig, does it work with other items? Well, of course. Maybe you spill something all over the room. Well, if that happens, simply log on to the internet and pull out a broom. Big or small, it really doesn't matter, but it's fun to show off, so how about a ladder? Yes!
So I can see that maybe this was kind of the lead-in to what he did in the audition in America's Got Talent. Because when he did the audition for America's Got Talent, obviously you had things like the orange juice being poured into the screen, and you saw the orange juice going into the screen. He saw all that sort of stuff. And this didn't involve any of those kind of almost holographic kind of crazy moments. This is kind of more of a traditional pulling things out. But what I really loved about this, and I hope he still performs this routine now, because I loved it. And there's a couple of things I loved about it. The first thing I loved about it is the premise. Because, the thing is, when you're performing magic, a lot of it's pointless. It's like, I made that card come to the top of the deck. Woo! I can produce 1 million playing cards in the air. Whoa, brilliant. And I'm as much of a, person to do that as anyone else. But if you can make the magic something that people would really do, well, then people are going to be invested. It's kind of like when you turn a $1 bill into a $50 bill. Now everyone's sitting up and paying attention because they kind of think, if I could do that, that would be great. It's a little bit like when Ryland does a kids show and he takes a bunch of Lego and turns it immediately into a real Lego model. Every kid in the audience is like, I would like to be able to do that. If you're a kid, you want to be able to build Lego in a second flat, right? Well, it's the same with this. Trig, if you could really do magic, why would you not do your shopping by magic and just pull stuff out the screen? So that's the first thing I loved about it. I think he had a connection in the audience from the audience because of that. The second thing is, I've seen lots of people pull stuff out the screen before. I've never seen anybody do it with like a shopping thing, like, okay, right, we're going to go onto this shopping website. I love the fact that he was Googling stuff and just pulling it out. And it was a lot of stuff. It's like, where is all of this stuff coming from? It's not like he was just like, I've seen people do it on stage. I've got an iPad over here. Now look, there's a ball. Now look, there's this. Now look, there's that. No, he was pulling tons of stuff out of this laptop, and it didn't look special. It didn't look like a special screen. It looked like he was just opening up a laptop. And then he got more insane. He got the broom out of there, and he got the ladder out of there, and which for me was kind of like the final load. You know, this reminded me a little bit of like a chopped up style routine where stuff's happening and it's becoming more and more impressive. It's like, first of all, I'm going to pull this, now this, now this, now this, now this, now I've got champagne. It's like the ball's going to go into the cup, now it's going into the cup again, now again, now again, now it goes in the pocket, it's under the cup, and now there's a lemon, and now there's a lime, and now there's a ladder, and now there's a broom. You know, it had that same sort of tempo. It was quick, it was impressive. Everybody in the audience can relate to what they saw, and it was a very clever use of tech. And I can see how this act evolved into the act he did on AGT. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely loved it. A masterclass as far as I'm concerned when it comes to incorporating tech magic into your stage show. Now we're going to look at another appearance he did, and we're going to look at something he did more close up. So let's have a look at that.
So I actually like to use the art of magic to give people the experience of things that may not be possible yet. Like, okay, so for example, the ability to cut and paste between two different phones. That would be useful, right?
Yes.
Do you have a calculator on your phone?
Yes, I do.
Great, pull out your calculator. Of the numbers 1 through 9 here, I just want you to tap on 5. Okay, now I want you to do a few more 5s for me. Just, yeah, that's good. Here, I'm just gonna swipe 1 away. I'm gonna place it there. See, it's just with the fingertips. I'll do it again. I'll swipe it off, and I'll do another one right there. Now, Mike, you can do this too. Let me just, here, hold out your index finger like this for me. I'm going to rest it on your finger, and now just tap it on the screen. Oh, you got to be careful, Doug. If your finger puts it on the, hold on, I can fix it. Let's get it to move down.
Oh,
they're super light there. They're not fully, like if you shake it too hard, they land on the, that's really, the Apple's got to fix that. It's really got a bit of an Apple update I think we need to fix to swipe. But if we put in a few more, let's try and do this manually this time. I'll move them sort of side by side. Check this out. Watch. 1, 2, boop. It goes over. We'll do it again. It's not possible at the moment. You can't really, it doesn't actually possible to. Now we've tried it with one number at a time, but let's use a few. Let's use a larger number. So I don't know. Here, let's clear that out. And what is that? 1, 4, 7, 8, 9, 6, 3.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see if I can get this to transfer from one phone to another. Here we go. Watch. 1.
Oh my God.
2, 3. Now that's not so impressive, but this is my favorite part. We can get it to transfer and travel from one to the other. Now check this out. 1, 2, 3. See, it jumps back over to the other phone.
Okay.
What if we could control other people's phones in a different way? For example, pick up your phone right now, Mike, for me.
Okay.
All right, I want you to just swipe out of your calculator for me. Just swipe out of your calculator.
So just hit the
or just home screen's great. Go ahead and click the home screen for me. And notice that mine also closes out. Okay, now, Mike, I want you to just, because we got to save battery, just go ahead and lock your phone.
Okay.
And you'll notice that mine turns off as well. See, it saves battery. That's useful, right?
Your face.
And I swear to goodness, he has not touched my phone before this moment. I promise. So it's been in my pocket the whole.
So the trick that Trig did there is a trick that myself and Rylan reviewed on the review show a while ago, and something that I've actually gone and done several times, which is R-Digit. R-Digit by, is it Gentleman's Magic? Can't remember. But R-Digit is great. In fact, I did a gig last night, and I did it multiple times at that gig last night. R-Digit is amazing. And it's the perfect trick to do. I think that the scenario that Trig was in here, he was invited to perform something on a news show or something, and he chose to do this. And for a tech magician, I think that's great. When you're in an environment where there's people all around you, but you still want to do something that's tech related, what are you going to do? Well, this is a perfect example, of a trick where, I said it in the review. I love the fact that it uses somebody else's calculator. It takes away from anything that's going on. I know that there's a school of thought. Lloyd Barnes is somebody who thinks that, which is when you're using a magic app, it should be something where the audience isn't aware that the app is even being used. This wouldn't be the case, but I think that there's a real case to say a trick like this is so visual and so impressive. This is the a lot of the time as magicians we will get an opportunity to perform on TV, and it's kind of like, what do you do? Well, this is a perfect example of Trig knowing the type of magician he is and picking the perfect routine to do in that situation that plays really big but still showcases the type of magic that he does. I also love that he changed the ending around completely. So the final thing where a number jumps from one place to another, I love that. absolutely love that when he did, because the way that it's taught in our digit and the way that I've done it in every single gig is to turn it over and keep everything cozy. He did it, boom, right in front of the audience. And I thought that the way that he did that was really, really good, like really good. And I've talked about this on the channel before. I think it's really important that we change things around. You know, you buy a trick, you look at it, you learn how it's done, but then you make it, you go, well, okay, how can I make this work for me? And I feel that the handling that he had on that final phase where that number jumped and jumped back visually was the best way I've ever seen of handling that last moment. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I mean, I bet there's a lot of people that are watching this that have got our digit that maybe haven't performed it, that hopefully have been inspired to perform it after watching Trigg's performance. So next, we are going to look at probably my favourite routine out of the 5 that I'm presenting for you. And when I watched this, I was just like, oh my God, that's just genius. That is just an incredible use of tech. It's called camera portal illusion. At least that's what I think it's called, or something like. I think it's Trigg's own thing, but that's what he's called it. I want you to have a look at this. This is just incredible.
Keep holding onto the balloon and don't let go.
Okay, so that was camera portal illusion. Now, I love this trick. I think this could play to the biggest crowd, and it looks amazing. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me a little of like psychic touch. You know, I'm going to touch you over there and you're going to feel it over there. I'm going to do this over here. I'm going to feel it over here. It was like psychic touch, but taken to an entirely new level. I love the fact that he had the camera. I love the fact that the camera was set up on the table and that he went over to the monitor. And I love that it built. You know, like the first time where he's just like, I'm going to knock the paper off the cup. When I saw it, I was like, oh, that's quite nice. I wonder where it's going to go from here. And then he did the cup, and then it eventually ends up with a spectator coming up on stage and holding the balloon, and the balloon happens. Just the whole thing was amazing. And it was a collection of, you know, tricks, not all of them, but there's certain tricks in there that have been marketed that I've kind of overlooked. So, for example, you know, that was a self-lighting candle. That's what that was. That was a self-lighting candle. So when he went over there and, you know, apparently lit the candle, boom, self-lighting candle. It's been around forever. That's a trick that I've looked at and I've dismissed. I'm like, nobody in this day and age would ever use a candle like that. And even if they did, it's not very impressive that a candle just comes on like that. That's not an impressive trick. And then I saw Trigg doing that, and I'm like, well, you know what, Craig, you're an idiot. Because this is how you take something like that prop that you have dismissed and how you can turn it into an absolute masterpiece. And you know, it was just so awesome to watch. But I also love the fact that the act built. It wasn't too long. It wasn't too short. It didn't outstay its welcome. It was brilliant. It wasn't too long. And I just love that every moment got stronger and stronger. And that final moment with the person holding the balloon, as soon as he gave them the balloon, I knew what was going to happen. The second he gave them the balloon, I was like, oh no, he's not going to do this, is he? And then he went over, pop, having the spectator involved in it, getting them involved in the act, and then blowing out the candle and all of that. It was just exceptional. Like, I could see this being presented in any magic competition around the world and like winning. This is great. I've never seen anyone else do anything like this. And again, a perfect example of using tech in a very different way. This isn't even using like a technic thing or pulling anything out or anything like that. This is just, I love this. I can't tell you how much I love this. This is really good. final routine that you just saw there is called Magic Snow Globe, and it's an example of the fact that Trigg doesn't just do tech magic. And I included this because, you know, sometimes people pigeonhole themselves into one area and they think they should never, ever deviate out of that area. This is an example of Trigg doing something which is a beautiful piece of magic, beautiful piece of manipulation. He's got the bubble manipulation, he's got the floating bubble, he's got the snow globe appearance, he's got the whole thing was really well done. I've never seen anything like this before. I thought it was great, but not a single piece of tech in place. And you don't have to. It also showed me how technically skilled Trigg is. And a lot of the time we overlook that. If you go back and look at his AGT audition, and you look at what's going on with everything getting pulled out and going into the screen, you forget the fact that in order to accomplish that, part of the element is he's doing some pretty slick card manipulation at various different points. And we kind of forget that and we think, well, it's tech magic, it works itself. Well, no, it doesn't. I think the best way to approach anything is to take that tech, combine it with sleight of hand, and then you've got the beautiful approach that Trigg Watson has to a lot of his performances. But by the by, you can see a sleight of hand in full display here, and this routine with the snow globe is beautiful. I could see somebody doing this in a stage show with a kid in the audience at Christmas, and then giving them the snow globe and just bringing the house down. This, for me, had the same impact as the first time I watched Kevin James do Snowstorm. With the snow animator, I had the same feeling, and the other thing that I noticed from this is musicality. And you know, I'm a big believer in music in your show, elevating the show and taking everything to the next level. And I think a lot of the time people forget that you know, people forget that music is such an important part of what you do. But yeah, the music, the performance, absolutely everything was completely on point. So there you go, guys. That's another 5x5 in the bag. Bottom line is Trigg Watson is amazing. He's got an incredible future in this industry, and I'm hoping to do an interview with him on Magic TV soon. If you haven't gone and checked out his AGT performance, you really should. I thought he was exceptional in both rounds. It's a shame he didn't make it through, but his future is set, regardless of how AGT went. Anyway, you want to see more videos like this? Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. Don't forget, if you want to join the Netrix, which is my online streaming platform for magicians, please do so by going to www.thenetrix.com. We've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sleights and routines and advice, and the Discord that's attached to it is constantly doing Q&As and advice and everything. Chris James and his team are doing an amazing job there. So you want to join the Netrix? It's the total package. We'd love to have you. Either way, thank you once again for joining me on Magic TV, and I will see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.